Oh, Madison, while you're here too, I was gonna tell you that I attempted's the key word, to purchase a Design-A-Horse off of the Peterstone website today. And I'm gonna tell you, whenever you told me a long time ago about going to a swap meet and you better hurry and don't hesitate to purchase, yeah. Yeah, I hesitated because I was like, oh my god, I'm about to drop some money, and they sold out in like 2 seconds. Yeah, we could share it to the show. Let me see if I can share it right quick on here. I was gonna share it to the Oklahoma one too. Copy. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Yeah, they have. Give me a second. I'm gonna post this online. Hold on. Yeah, it was. I mean, because I talked to Jacqueline, and I said, "Hey, are you having issues with the website?" And she goes, "No, they sold out like super quick because they had the that newest model that they have of that mare they call Volo. They had a Remington that had the mane and tail customized to kind of match that, and man, I had gotten it like the builder, I had gotten it to where I wanted it and everything like that, and I was like and then I hesitated, and I'm like Madison told me to not hesitate. So I was like, dang it. So I don't know if I'm gonna get one or not. They've got a really cool cob that is on there that's kind of factory customized. Yeah, I'll have to show you a picture of it because it's really neat, and I don't know, I might, but I have time payments too. I've gotta pay off some stuff, so I don't know. I might see what they look like in hand, and if somebody's wanting to sell it, maybe do time payments on that. I don't know yet. We shall see. Hi guys, just give me a few moments. Hello, Jacqueline. Hello. Yeah, give me a few moments. I am getting geared up for y'all. I gotta open packages and stuff because I don't want you guys to have to like go through all that. But I mean, if you don't mind, I guess we'll go through that. But no, we are doing mailbag. It's just having to open them. But I'm hoping that today. Oh, Jacqueline, before I get off topic here, I was telling Madison about the design a horse experience this morning. I kind of took your advice and I just was like, nah, I'm gonna save my money. I've got photo show supplies I need to purchase anyway. So yeah, I'm very bummed though, because I was super excited about that Remington, but I hesitated and I shouldn't have. So that's on me. Yeah, you were not joking when you were like, oh my god, you got to be quick, because whoo. But hey, maybe next time they'll have something. I really heavily thought about the Cobb though, because I really do like the customization they did with him or her. I can't remember his. But I was just like, I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I need to purchase some photo show stuff first. So, and then I'll think about it. And, make time payments, because I got to pay you, girl. I bought 2... See, I'm doing time payments on 2 of your mini, like your micros, right? Yeah. And I'm super excited, because one of them is a little scarlet, and then another one is like a little paint. So I'm super pumped. I'm ready. I already got names for them. I'm pumped. I am going to pay you tomorrow, by the way. I'm going to pay you, because my paycheck goes out weird. I'm trying to, Breyer Horse Collectors. There we go. I was like, wait a minute. Aw, one of my thingies is pending. Ew. Okay. Alright, guys. Say hello if you can hear me all right. I'm going to turn the music down. I got to put my headphones on. I have little cat ears on top of my headphones. I'll show you guys in a minute. But I lost one of my cat ears, and so now I'm uni-eared. I'm like a unicorn, but cat. So, let me lower the volume. I'm super excited to get started on this, guys. Like, I'm so ready to go over this. I kind of sort of wish I was going to reach out to Ashley. I might reach out to her because she is a shorthorn breeder, and we're going to get into shorthorns later. Let me show you my unit. My little thingy's up. Hold on. There we go. My little unit ear. Because I got to turn this down so I can hear you. But yeah, look at it. I'm missing an ear. I don't know where it went. So, hi guys, I look like death warmed over because we were literally in the field today, going over or trying to, bale some hay and stuff, and the hay rake that takes the windrows, or okay, we call them windrows, whatever he mows down is called windrows. And I take 2 of those windrows with this rake, and I put them together pretty much. So I'm gonna swap phones here because I've got a video of what I'm talking about here. Let me see. I got to go. Who all participated in the Christmas in July experience that Breyer put on earlier? I did, and I've got to show you what I got. I wasn't too excited because I missed out on. Oh, what did I miss out on? They had Cardinal up there, and then who else did they have? I can't remember who else they had, but yeah, they had some decent ones, but nothing too exciting, I guess. I don't really know. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about raking hay. So that thing that I've got right now, that I'm pulling, is called a hay rake. There's wheels on those. At one time in my life, I thought, Magpie. There we go. It was Magpie and Cardinal, and they were pretty good price compared to what they were on I'm kind of Wait, don't you? You do have, yeah. Yeah, I didn't. I wanted to get Cardinal. Oops, sorry. I wanted to get Cardinal so bad. But yeah, this is what a hay rake is. Sorry if it's, of course Becky's not going to focus here. But yeah, that's a hay rake that I'm pulling. And one of these arms on the outside here kept, like, they're supposed to go up and meet in the middle when you're done. And it's a hydraulic deal. But when, for some unknown reason, Cody told me later, my husband told me later that he had flipped it in a ditch. And so, like, lost a piece or something. And so, he told me, he was like, oh, hey, by the way, I did this. And I'm like, sir. But, so, yeah, he did that. Yes, yeah. See, I was gonna ask you I was like, you showed me. I had video footage and everything of him. I'm being dumb, girl. I'm sorry. My brain it's been going 50 billion miles an hour. But yeah, so he told me he flipped it in a ditch and he lost a piece, and so now one of the arms that's on the side, like when they're supposed to go up, it goes like that. So it kept breaking on us, and yeah, that's fun. It was a great time. I want to do a sound check. Hold on. Okay, sound check is good. I just look at my phone and that I'm watching it on and make sure that everything sounds okay. Let me know if you guys need me to up the volume. I kind of left the desktop audio. I'm gonna up this a little bit. Okay, there we go. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I kind of left the desktop audio up a little bit. Hello, welcome in. Welcome to Mass Chaos, me trying to open a box with little bitty tiny baby scissors. Look at them. This is what I have been... Oh, also guys, there's a lot going on that I haven't... in a week since I've spoken to you guys. There has been a lot going on. AKA, we launched the BCMH All OF Traditional Photo Show today. It's been great. I started taking payments and everything like that. I'm going to start ordering like the ribbons and all that. We've got one set of ribbons that I went ahead and just got because I wanted to while she was posting so she didn't sell out. So that's on me. Madison just let me know she sent in some stuff for raffle items, and so did Jacqueline. There's another, I think her name is Amalia. She is going to paint something for us for raffle items. So I'm super excited. I'm not going to do a door prize tonight. I'm going to try to do one tomorrow. Because I figured with all of the craziness going on the first day of the opening of the show that, this is really hard to do. Where'd my big scissors go? Give me a second, guys. Oh, my big scissors are back there. Okay. Yeah. Also, my shirt says it's a throat punch kind of day because that's how I felt today. But, so yeah, it was just mass chaos for the opening day. So I just went ahead and said, you know what? I have been going rampant. Yeah. I literally opened it and it went, so I've been going rampant, blah, blah, blah. And, so yeah, I didn't do it. So I'm going to enter, so the door prize deal is going to be who all's pretty much entered so far. Or should I do it, Madison? Let me know what you think. Should I do it on who all's like part of the, who all's in the show? Yeah, I think I'll do that. Cause, everybody who's joined the show so far, I'll just put them in like a little spinny wheel thing and call it good. Cause I'm always asking Madison for help. Cause I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But, okay, so the first little dude that I got was one of the event stablemates from 2025 because there were 2 of them that I absolutely loved, and I got 1 of them. And then the rest of this, guys, is all peanuts. I got him, I think, on one of them auction sites on Facebook. I just gotta make sure I don't put him anywhere where he gets like busted up. There we go. Okay, so, and I'm kind of excited to show you guys. Oh, thanks. I need all the help I can get. So, I got this guy. Oh, hold on. I got this guy. I was super excited. He was one of my favorites. And literally, this is how you open the box. I watched it the other day, but oops. You got to untie the little ribbon up here. And then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Look at that. And then she went ahead and wrapped him again for me. So, yeah, thank you, Madison. I need all the help I can get. Ugh. It really, you know, like, because I had to drive my husband to the city, to Oklahoma City this morning, which it's not as bad as Tulsa. Tulsa's the second biggest city in Oklahoma, and Tulsa's way worse. I don't know, Madison, you let me know if Tulsa's way worse from your experience, you know, but it's, it is something else. But the city's not too bad, and so I drove him up to, or he drove up to the city. Oh, this guy's gorgeous. He drove up to the city because he's getting ready to take off and go to Nebraska for his work, leaving me behind to take care of everything. No, I'm kidding. I'm used to it. I mean, he goes and has to do farm stuff, so you know, he goes and so sorry. He goes and does all that, so I have to take care of some stuff at the house. But okay, so this is Kava. Becky's acting up again, but we're gonna look at a blurry photo of Kava. Yeah, see, I hate driving. Like, when we go up for the stock show, the fair, I don't drive. Yeah, because it takes me about 3 hours to get to Tulsa, from where I'm at, but it's like an hour-ish to the city. But yeah, so here's Kava. He is absolutely phenomenal, guys. Like, I can't even describe how gorgeous his dappling is. Becky, figure it out. But yeah, he's glossy, which, you know, I'm a glossy girl, glossy queen over her. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he's absolutely gorgeous. I'll let you guys know when I think I'm going to show him as a Mangalarga Marchador. I don't know if I said that right or not, but I found some pretty good photos of a Marchador, and I think he'll fit pretty well. He's got the same profile-ish, big old head. I know he's on the Andalusian mold, but I kind of wanted to try something different because I'm afraid that everybody and their dog's going to have one of these guys in there. So, I have to find a pony pouch for him. I got one of these. But, yeah, so, guys, I need to get smaller pony pouches. I need to hit Lori up again. But, yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to try to show him as. And I cannot remember his name. For the life of me, but we'll go over that. I'll probably go over that more like at the beginning of September, because that's when Mid-Kansas Live will be. I'm going to put him over here. And we'll start kind of going over show prep again for this show, if y'all want to talk about it. Because what I did today is I went ahead and broke this cattle deal up into 2 separate deals. Because there's a lot, well, I say there's a lot to go over. I can go like forever and ever and ever and ever talk about this stuff, just because I've lived it. That's literally my life. So, and then I lived the other portion of it for 6 years plus. So yeah, I could just go on and on, just to make it accurate, but you know, I won't bore you guys, I promise. Okay, let me show you one that I did unpack already. And y'all, Becky, get your stuff right, girl. Hold on. Maybe she'll figure it out. Y'all, I don't know what to do about this. I probably need to get a new camera. It's whenever I go off screen. It's weird. It's like, oh my god, I can't find your face. I'm like, my face is right here. See, look at her. Stop it. I want to show this pretty horse to everybody. Ugh. Welcome to Bitter Creek Model Horses, where it's me me screaming at the camera. Okay, so this is a time pay. I don't know much about him except for his name is Waterboy. That's all I know. He is a factory custom-ish. And you guys, I was not ready for him to see him in person, but he's gorgeous. And I wanted to just have one of these in the collection and to show. So without further ado, welcome, Waterboy, to the world of Bitter Creek Model Horses. So the reason I absolutely love this guy is this factory custom hoof right here. This kind of resting hoof. It is carved, by the way, on the bottom side. Yeah, it's carved. He is a factory custom-ish. So he's got the windswept mane. And yeah, he's just phenomenal. He does have primitive leg bars, but I'm going to show him as a paint. I could maybe possibly get it. I'm gonna try him as a paint. Thank you. Yeah, he's definitely yeah, he's one of my faves. It's the leg for me because I have not seen one of these guys in person at all, period, like straight up. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of leery because I remember when Julie was judging at INL. You guys can't see him. I'm so sorry. When Julie was judging at INL, she talked to me about the leg barring on, I call her Dream Fire, I think, but she was that like bald face. Becky, thank you. She was that, but here's more like details of him, but she was that kind of bald face Mustang I got from Leanne. Ooh, I'm trying so hard. Camera angles, wow. More details. I know that it's kind of messed up. But yeah, so she was like, well, the leg barring, the primitive markings is kind of screaming Mustang to me. So I would try her there because I was showing her as like a solid bred paint. But she was like, nah, try her in this one instead. So I don't know. He's got the dorsal stripe. He's got the leg barring. He could possibly maybe for me show as like a Stewart Creek horse. I'm gonna have to do a little touch up on this back leg here. I just noticed that. I don't know. What do y'all think? Because, I mean, I'm gonna probably stick with paint because I think he can go with as a gruel of paint. But, I don't know. He could maybe, I don't know. The Mustang thing for me, I did some research on him. It's interesting. It kind of confuses me a little bit sometimes. But anywho, that is him. His name is Feyrus. It's like Feyrus. So that's his name, is Feyrus. Shout out to Madison. Also, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Shout out to Madison for so you guys, yes, you see, and I think I want to say it's either the Stewart Creek or I don't know. It's the one, I have to think on that one because it's one of the HMAs that has the paint horses like Picasso. Is that Pryor Mountain or is that Stewart Creek or is that Sandwash, the Sandwash Basin horses? They're paints, so they can be paint horses. I think like any of them really could, but Pryor Mountain is Cloud's deal, isn't it? Have you gotten any answer on what to show what others think that your Orion could be shown as? Oh, by the way, shout out to Madison. Like I said, she threw out a really awesome name for my Albarozo, and I stuck with him. His name is now Mandos. Because it tickled my Tolkien brain. I didn't even know it was a Tolkien thing because I hadn't heard him because I don't know the old stuff very well. I'm doing only research on like the Hobbits, a little bit of the Valar, and whatnot. So that tickled my Tolkien brain. So thank you, ma'am. You are awesome. But also, I was going to say something else and I completely forgot. Oh, she reused my... That's funny. She reused my, so I got this in a trade. This is a horse that I just traded this lady for. So I have a factory, I had a factory custom Arabian yearling Peter Stone that I found the glossy counterpart to. So I traded this horse, or I traded that horse for this guy that Catherine just sent me. And she reused my, because whenever I send something to somebody, I always send them a BCMH Lusitano Mustang. Okay. See, that's what I was thinking too. Is like me personally, I think he could be a prior Mountain Mustang, just because he's got because Cloud was like that. But whenever I send somebody a trade or a horse that I buy, I always send them a thank you for support. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Just because, why not? Why not plug myself a little bit, But hello everybody. Hello, we got new people. So yeah, she reused it, but hey, that's okay. I'm cool with that. I'm super excited about this guy because I don't have very many Appaloosa horses, period, to OFs. So she was like, hey, do you want to trade either your Biggie, and that was the horse's name, either your Biggie or I can't remember which one it was that she wanted, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna get a glossy, I'm putting time payments on a glossy version of her, you can have this one. So we traded for this guy. I don't know his name. Oh, he's a designer horse, never mind, he's a DAH. Really pretty, just really gorgeous Appaloosa. His eyes, he's got really pretty eyes. I love the shading on his hooves. So whenever you go into the builder, the horse builder, you can put the socks on him and all this stuff. But yeah, she did an amazing job keeping him in good shape. But he is phenomenal. He's got the customized forelock here, windswept mane. Yeah, he's a pretty color. So I'm super excited because that was in the this year's DAH. I was thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited. I don't know what to name him yet, so if anybody has some cool name ideas, let me know. I'm always open for name ideas, guys. Like, yeah, I get stumped, and the only thing I can see on him is he's got a little bit of a smudging, like right on his blanket, but that's okay. Oh, it's a mare. I was calling it a dude. Oh God, y'all, I need to go to bed. Look at this. Okay, so I need female names then. I'm so sorry. Good God. Woo-wee. All right. I'm blind. I'm going to take a drink, hydrate myself. Y'all take a moment. I don't even remember what I was talking about. So yeah, I'm open to female names. Let's go. Something pretty. Like throw me something. I don't care. That's what I was going with. Hold on, I'm trying not to choke. With the DAH this year is I wanted to get another Appaloosa Remy. Because I don't have very many Appies. And I have enough paints to last me a lifetime and enough quarter horses. Good God. So yeah, I don't have enough Appies, but now I've got him. And I've got another trade. Then I've got the Kringle you guys saw. And then I think that might be it. I might have one more in there. I'm trying to hit 4. I'm trying to hit 4 because Madison, from experience, I like to stress myself out and put 4 horses in the same class all the time. But, so yeah, he's gorgeous though. I'm super excited about him. He's so pretty. Him and Ferris are some of my favorites. I'm a sucker for a good ish, guys. I'm sorry. See, I'm quarter horse poor, and I am paint horse poor, because I've got too many. I have got too many. Like, I think what I need to start branching out in is trying to get some more, see if I can find a really good Peterstone mule, and some ponies, because I hardly have any ponies. Sorry, guys, I was trying to be a fish a minute ago and, chug my drink. Yeah, I don't, or something different than the norm, because I want to branch out and do better as far as, like, not getting something that's boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love my stock breeds, though. I'm going to stay with my stock breeds, but, like, the warm bloods or, you know, get a different type of draft horse, you know, get a, I don't know, that's where I'm branching out at. But that's it for all the trades. I'll show you guys who I got for the typical Breyer packaging, but the box is in good condition. But yeah, I'll show you who I received in the Christmas. Oh, you know, they actually packed this pretty well. Becky, come on, girl. Do I need to give you like some Midol or something? Okay. Hi, I'm Jessica, and I scream at my camera all the time. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So, for the, oh, they just, okay, no wonder it was bulky. Hey, Ash, I'm glad you're here, because I might need your expertise. I was actually going to send you a message, but then I was like, nah, because I don't want to bug you, because I know David's kind of been down, so you guys have been, like, pitching in and helping him, so I didn't want to bug you too much. But yeah. I'm telling you, she needs new glasses or to, like, you know, get sober or something. But yeah, I might need your expertise, Ash, because wow, I'm talking about cattle today, and super excited after I get done with this, of course. Look at all this, guys. This was back when Breyer believed in bubble wrap. Holy cow. Oh, awesome. You're going to have to let me know what you guys are working with this year and where you plan to go. So I was talking to Haley, and she said that she's got a bull that she's wanting to show. So, yeah, guys, I live like a couple of different lives. Yeah, I'm talking about Breyer Cattle. And see, Ashley's like me. She can talk cattle all day. I told him that too, and I was like, I don't know if they want to hear me talk about cows all day. But yeah, Ash, she is a shorthorn breeder. We'll talk about that in a minute, girl. She is a shorthorn breeder, and she exhibits shorthorn cattle. We'll talk about that later. But Ash and I also, like, we go to shows and we see each other and we're like, hey, and then we run off and do our own thing. But yeah, we're like show buddies and gamer buddies, and I work with her sister-in-law, so that's, not only is Ash one of my good friends, but, okay, see, I was gonna take a bull to the state fair, and I didn't get a chance to, so I got busy. Okay, so going over, I'm keeping all, like, guys, he was packed, he was packed in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, yes, and photography buddies. Cannot forget. Yeah, I'm finally starting to book some photography, girl. People are starting to wake up. I'm so excited. I've got a couple of sessions coming up that I'm pumped for. Okay, y'all ready to see what I got for the, my brain just farted. Wow. You guys want to see what I got for the Christmas in July? I'm kind of excited, though, because I actually just bought one just a little bit ago. It was a little collecta horse, a little collectifoal, and you guys know that collectas are like the rubbery or whatever. I got let me see what they call it. I cannot remember. Breton. So I wonder if he could be. Anyway, he's a chunk. Look at him. So collectors are kind of like Schleichs, but they're I don't know. The lady didn't I contacted her about fall mini sessions, and she said that they're not going to do that this year. So I don't know. But anyway, so he's a cutie. He is a chunk. Like, he's a big boy, and I absolutely love him because he's got the pink nose. He's just got some good features about him that I just kind of fell in love with. So, you know, me on the drafter deal. I might try him out at, I wanted a riding buddy for the other one that I did get. But yeah, he's a cutie. So this was one of the This is one of the ones that they did offer in the Christmas in July sale. And so I just picked him up because I don't have very many of these guys. And I think they're really cute. If you get the proper mold, I think they're really well done. It just depends on which one you get. But yeah, he's very well done. He's got a really cute shading. I mean, really, really good shading on him. So super excited. And then plus he's easy to store because he's rubbery. But I'll show you guys the next one, which I think he's a collector's club. Okay. They offered, and I don't have one on him. I've got the mare, but I do not have this guy. I ended up getting Chadwick. Trying to get back when they were believed. Look at this. Well, okay, so hear me out. I'll talk to that. I'll get there because I kind of broke some stuff down. They kind of kept with some breeds that strictly with some breeds, and I don't know how I feel about it because I'm like, okay, let's start making cattle that look like, and that's what I'm going over today. It literally, that's what I thought. That was going through my head. Let's make some cattle that are more accurate for the times. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Good God. Okay. So yeah, here's Chadwick. I finally have him. He's a pretty boy. And he's the dude version. I promise. I made sure so I can call him a he. But yeah, he's absolutely gorgeous. Like, I'm just obsessed with, I was obsessed with him anyway. But he's glossy. He is pretty. He's on the Emerson mold. He's a collector's club from 2022. Yes, they did. A really good price. Yeah, I agree 100%, Madison. And I just love this mold anyway. Like, you and I both, we like the Emerson molds for sure. But I don't, I did not have him, and I've been wanting him for a while, and I've seen him for decent prices. Yeah, he's a pretty boy, and look at that gloss, you guys. And plus, guess what? He's in good condition because he was wrapped right. Ugh, I miss the bubble wrap. I wish they would come back to it because I think they would have less crap. They would have less problems. Anyway, don't get me started. But yeah, I think he's really pretty. So I don't know if I'm going to show him. I just have him for right now. I'm getting to that stage where I'm just like, I just have him because I want him. But yeah, he's a pretty boy. I'm excited. So, give me a few seconds. Let me get geared up. I gotta make sure I located everything when I need to. So in the comments, guys, let me know. What do you think? No, he does not take up much space. They are the best for, like, just putting somewhere. And, but let me know if you guys think I should show this little WIA. Because I don't know yet. I'm on the fence. He's really pretty. I mean, he's really pretty shaded. Like, he's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, your glossy winks is my favorite. Besides, is your Albie named Dante? Is that right? I'm gonna fix Becky here. Hold on. Is that his name? I cannot remember. I wanted to say it was Dante because I was like, Mandos has got a cousin on the other side of the state. But yeah, Madison lets me pick up her Albarozo, and I was super excited. So now we can have like Albarozo. We're Albarozo buddies. Yeah, and Jacqueline's too. Cannot forget. Dio. Okay, I'm so sorry. I thought for some reason his name was Dante. I don't know. I was like, it starts with a D. But yeah, so Dio and Mandos. Also, my hands are so dirty, guys. That's why I was putting this on here because I was like, ew. I washed them too. That is hydraulic fluid. We're not going to talk about that. No, I like Dio better, honestly. I think Dio is way better. Now, what is yours, Jacqueline? What's yours named? We gotta know that just so we have our little Albie crew over here. You're good, Libby. Hi, girl. Okay, let me show you the spoils of war before we get going, okay? So, this was a trade. This is, I don't have a name. She's I called it a dude. Oh my God, Becky. I'm going to scream. I've been screaming at Becky. You can ask everybody. Okay, there we go. She's a trade. I was calling her a dude earlier. She's not. She's a girl. Unnamed. What? All right. I'll let it pass. I'm kidding. But this is, oh my gosh, Becky. I'm trying to just, but anyway, what you can see of her, she's windswept Appaloosa. I was telling him I don't have very many of the Appaloosas. So, you know. And then we've got this guy. We got this guy who is a time pay. And, oh my God, Becky. Hold on, guys. Gotta fix Becky's glasses. Oh, wait until you see the other ones, Ash. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying. There we go. This is Waterboy. Really, really pretty. I love the foot. This is the only reason I got him is because of the foot. But yeah, windswept Affy. This is a dude, I promise. Yeah, you should ask the girls, because I literally was like, he, and it's a girl. I've been up since 5, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, so he's a windswept ish, and with the foot gets me. I love the foot. So that's really the only reason I got him, is because of the foot. And then I gotta find out where I put him. I got Kava from the stablemates from this year. I got this. I'm gonna fight her, guys. I'm sorry. I'm about to fist fight my camera. I got Kava. He's really pretty. I don't know if you guys can see him or not. Yeah, see now. I had a ring light and it doesn't want to work anymore. But yeah, good Lord. So he's very pretty. If you, I wish I could show more details of him, but he is very dappled, very glossy, very dappled. And then he's got black down his back. So he's very pretty. I will take pictures, hopefully, and I'll have pictures up of these guys. I really don't understand why you're doing this to me, Becky. Yeah, I'm about to fight her. I'm serious. And then, I did the Christmas in July sale, or the one that Breyer put on. I got this little W. I am debating whether or not I should show him. So, y'all let me know. Excuse me. Y'all let me know. And then I got Chadwick, because I've been wanting him forever. So here's Chadwick. Anything? I'm not missing anything, right? I think I'm good. I think that's it. That wasn't a very big haul, but it's okay. I'm okay with those, because that's less talking or less having to listen to me open boxes and fight the peanuts and all that. So, okay, so I'm gonna give it. Let me move over here right quick. Get y'all ready and geared up. Ash, get ready. We okay on music and everything? I'll get my stuff over here right quick. So let me see here. I gotta figure out and make sure this is all the right way. Swap presenter. There we go. Okay. All right. So, I gotta make sure everything looks okay, guys. Oh, I don't know why I did that. It's gonna be kind of slow. Yes, I am absolutely in love. I've been wanting him for a while, but, you know, I haven't found him for a good price yet. So, oh, you guys are going to have to pardon me on one of these slides. I literally put an animation on every single photo, and there's like 10. So, I am so sorry. But, Libby, today what we're talking about is the Breyer molds. Now, okay, guys, I did my best to do the research. It was just getting really late, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to these guys forever about this stuff. They're going to be like, yawn. So I apologize ahead of time. But welcome. Hello. Welcome to my TED Talk about cattle. Ashley is in the chat too. She is a shorthorn breeder, but we'll get there in a minute. And if I do anything wrong, let me know, because I mainly focus on like show cattle and stuff. The industry is a little different compared to like the show industry. So, they kind of mirror each other, but really not anymore. So, Anyway, if you guys can hear me okay, welcome to The Real Beef and then some. Uh, y'all get a drink. Y'all get your questions and everything, and I'll do my best to answer them. Ash will do her best too, because she, like I said, she's, I told her, I was like, I kind of voluntold her. I was like, I need your help, maybe. So I got to thinking, the reason that I came up with this idea is, I got to thinking the other day, they have got these toys that I have seen as an adult. They never existed when I was a kid. And yes, exactly. And we're gonna get into that. Not really a debate. Like we're not gonna get into the craziness, but we're gonna just kind of go off of okay, this is how different everything is. But the reason I started thinking about this is because they, like I said, they have some toys. They're called Little Busters or something like that, and they're show cattle. Thank you. They are show cattle, kind of they look like show cattle. So there is a difference between, and it's I want to say it's different in the horse industry, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a difference between practical horses and show horses. For instance, there are roping quarter horses or halter quarter horses. Here's a good example. Yes, me too. Oh my God. Where were they when we were young? Oh my gosh. I have a show sheep because I got it for my husband because he showed sheep. And then I have a bull because I got my dad one because we had an Angus bull anyway. And then I got some show heifers because I was going to give it to a girl that I help fit her cattle. And I'll talk about what that means later. But yeah, I got it for her because I was like, hey, I got you a new show heifer. And I never got it to her. And I'm like, eh. So, but yeah, the reason I was thinking about this is because Breyer has only a couple of types of cattle. They focus on their horses, but they don't really have, yes, yeah, with the pins and yes, and the hay bales and, you know what I made my pins out of when I was playing with, farm animals? Crayons. I put crayons on the ground and it was like you were looking at a blueprint. That was my pins. So I thought to myself, I was like, Breyer, why don't you come out with more practical, what they look like now compared to what they were back then? They are not, we'll discuss this, but they are not little bitty anymore. The little Hereford bulls and stuff, they don't look like that anymore. So, yeah, that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to expose my BCMH crew to the other side that what I was born and raised in. So that is what stemmed The Real Beef, because I was like, all right, Breyer, this is my TED Talk today. Oh, she needs to stop this. One of my peoples is sending me photos. She's trying to get me to, yeah. Girl, it's all good. But yeah, so one of my people that I buy from, she's like, here you go, here's more. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. Okay, so we're moving on. I gotta make it a little bit. All right, so in this whole thing, I'm gonna try, there's a lot of writing, so I'm so sorry. I'm gonna move my little corgi, hold on, so you guys can see. I'm gonna put his little eyes there. So, what we're gonna go over in this whole thing is, we're going to talk about why I'm talking about this. Why is Jessica talking about this? She's a crazy horse lady, or a crazy model horse lady. Well, we're going to talk about how. Yes, you need to send me your heifer so I can see it. Oh, and we need to talk about that too, because I need to, terms and stuff. So, we all know Earl, for instance, or the Angus bull, or all of this stuff. So, I'm going to talk about why I want to talk about this, because I'll talk about my involvement briefly, because I don't want to bore y'all. And then I'm going to talk about Breyer's cattle models with each, because there is so many things to break down in this whole thing, but I don't want to get going and get boring and everything, because I know that, it's I have the attention span of a squirrel. I have all of them raging in my head. So I don't want to get going because I know I wouldn't want to listen to all that unless I was absolutely just 100% like invested. And sometimes I just am not. So I will briefly touch on like, you know, their introduction, but with every different breed, every different type. Oh, I know where I was talking about. So there's like a difference between show cattle and practical cattle. And it's like halter horses versus Western pleasure horses. Just think about that. So then we're going to talk about like the cattle history and the standards at the time that those models were released. Because there's a vast difference on all of them with what is standard now. Oh my gosh, I know. Isn't that crazy? Oh lordy, don't get me started. Yeah, they weren't showing goats when I was showing. They literally had like started doing them when I was getting ready to graduate. Yeah, and they're fitting pigs now. Is that nuts? But we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So, now I'm just going to cover, for right now, I'm just going to cover beef cattle. And I'm not going to go over every breed. I am not going to break down everything, and just because it is a lot. So I'm just going to do the basics. And then dairy, we're going to do it next time. So the next video that we've got coming up in August is going to be the dairy coverage, because I had 6 years invested into that. I'm not a dairy person, but I was in the industry for six-ish years. So, and I got to meet a lot of awesome people and go to a lot of awesome places. And then we're going to go over the standards now and what they look like now. Thanks. And then we're going to talk about, you know, the difference between the models. And then, we'll probably cover in the dairy episode, the different, you know, cause they have pig models and stuff. We'll talk about that later. I'm not a pig person, so it's not going to be perfect. Okay. This is the slide. I'm going to have you guys bear with me because, so my history in the cattle industry. If you guys haven't noticed, Ashley and I are talking about show cattle a lot because that is the epitome of, or that is like my roots 100%. I am a 6th generation cattle producer and agriculturalist in Oklahoma. My grandfather raised he raised horses, pigs, and he farmed. My dad raised Herefords in Blackwell, and that's where the name Bitter Creek came from for both his livestock operation as well as I did show dairy. We'll talk about that later. So yeah, Bitter Creek came from a creek that was over in where he was born and raised. So he raised Herefords. I should have put a photo in here, guys. I'm so sorry. I have one of him showing. And then he breeds cattle and works cattle. He did all sorts of cowboying and stuff back in the day. And then I showed cattle all over the state in 4-H. We raised show cattle for 4-H and FFA students. I helped train and coach students to show, like, how to show them, because there is a thing called showmanship, but it's it's kind of the same thing within all of the show stuff. So there is showmanship, so I teach them how to do that. Or I coach them, and then I help them with this fitting. So when we talk about fitting, you see Ashley and I talking about fitting quite a bit. Fitting is pretty much making them look show ready. So let's talk about like body clipping a horse, or, you know, clipping the mane, banding the mane. Just correct me if I'm getting it wrong. That's pretty much what we're doing, but these cattle have hair all over their bodies. So we are making them look a certain way. It's all an illusion. So that's what fitting is. We clip them. So I know you guys probably clip horses. Correct me if I'm wrong. You kind of, I want to say kind of shave them, I think, some of the show horses. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not very familiar with it, and I don't want to tell you anything that I don't know. But that's pretty much what I did. No, she's actually, believe it or not, she is a crossbred. She's a commercial. We raised this one, and she got 3rd overall in our district. But this one is one of my show heifers. So, and this is another little show heifer of mine. This is me coaching, and this is me judging. So that's another thing, is I judged cattle for decades. I've both dairy and beef, or dairy and beef and other livestock. I don't know why I have this on here, but I help them, I guess. Anyway, I do photograph cattle. You'll see some of my photos here in here. I photograph for sales, and then I just do some like art stuff. And then I showed dairy cattle in college, state, national. Well, I say that, Fort Worth, and at some of the other Oklahoma shows. So this is our Hereford bull, Sid, over here that I'm trying to talk to. But I was heavily involved in like the dairy club. I didn't go to Block and Bridle. Anyway. So that's my involvement. I'm heavy in the show cattle deal. Heavy in the cattle deal, period. Currently right now we've got a small herd. But we're kind of trying to get there. But yeah, that's why I'm talking about this, is because this is something that is like in my system, like in my blood, can never get rid of. So some of the basic terminology that I like to, and Ashley get mad at me because I'm a dummy. This is the same terms that I'll tell you some terms I don't have written up here. A heifer is a female that has not had a calf, so a young female. A bull is obviously an uncastrated male. A steer is a steer is a castrated male, so it's like a gelding, a stallion, and a mare. I don't know what you guys call mares that have not had a baby yet, a foal. But heifers are ones that have not had. Now, when they do, I have a bad tendency of when they do have their first calf, though, as a heifer, I still call them first calf heifers. But, she's technically a cow, but I call them a first calf heifer because she's still a heifer in my mind until she has like 2 more, at least 1 more. But Ashley, let me know what you think. Yep. So, what she's talking about in the comments, Angus. So we're going to talk about different breeds, but like, when we talk about polled, horned, or scurred, polled means that they are naturally clean-headed. So like this guy right here, he is polled. He has no horns. Obviously a horned cow, or, horned cattle. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Brood mares. Okay. Thank you. See, I was making sure because I was like, ooh, I better be careful because I'm not very familiar with, when they haven't had a foal yet. But when they're polled, like I said, they are genetically, naturally not horned. And some of these cattle have 2 different types in there. So like the Herefords can be I did not say that word. Polled or horned. That's really hard to say. I need to go to bed. And most dairy cattle are horned because they're born that way. And I want to say they're kind of leaning toward, because horns aren't pretty. They're hard to deal, like they could hurt other cattle. So I think that they're mostly trying to steer away from horned animals. Angus are naturally polled. They have never been, ever been. I'm sorry, Jacqueline. I'm so sorry. I need to go to bed. They have never been horned. They were naturally bred to be polled. But like I said, some cattle, especially dairy and then Herefords and stuff, they've got 2 different types. And you can show one or the other. Like you can have a horned Hereford and a polled Hereford, and you can show one. They have the different shows broken into those 2 categories. Most everything now, unless they unless they want them, most everything is dehorned because it's kind of like they dock it in this, at the sale barn, if that makes any sense. Am I right? I think that's right. But anyway, so, and then when we talk about dairy later, they're both the same animal. They're both the same species, but they are two different types. It is the halter quarter horse versus the Western pleasure quarter horse. Dairy are bred for a specific thing. Beef are bred for another specific thing. And then, yeah, what Ashley's saying is scurd is horns, but they don't attach to the skull. They just don't get very big. So if you have something that's got a little bitty nubbin on the side of their head, that's scurd. And they can be big, right? They can be big cattle. There is a way to cosmetically dehorn cattle. And they do that. I have seen it done because I had a show steer that was done that way. I'm not a big fan because it's just, bleh, it's gross. But yeah, when I worked at the dairy, they would dehorn the calves. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love your show heifer. She just sent me a picture of her heifer. Yeah, so they don't get too big. But they would dehorn the calves because they didn't want them to be horned because they were born with horns, especially Jerseys. So anyway, and then we'll get going. I'm not going to talk too heavy on it, but the show cattle thing, they're way different than commercial cattle. When we call it commercial cattle, we're meaning like nobody's breeding it to exhibit them. They're just breeding them to sell at the sale barn or, to eat pretty much. There are different patterns, kind of limited to different breeds, but you're going to kind of notice later on in the current cattle that there is a heavy, what am I calling? There's a pattern there after, and we'll talk about that, but, yeah. And then there's going to be more stuff that I'll explain. Oh girl. Yeah. 100%. The way that there's different breeds, obviously, and different builds. Now we'll get kind of later, but there are different, beef cattle that were heavy on the milking aspect. Shorthorns, 100%. Now, shorthorns diverged into different types. So, and then Simmental. Simmental is another breed that I'll talk about later. They were milking. They're still good milking, but they're not used heavy anymore in America for dairy purposes. But yeah, so that's what she's talking about. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So we're just going to I'm going to briefly introduce you guys to kind of the first couple of models that were introduced by Breyer. The cow came out in 1972, sculpted by Chris Hess. Horned and pulled version, but mostly dairy cows. That's all I've seen. I have not seen anything other than dairy cows. But I do love them. I love them all, but they're not beef cattle. They're dairy. Which is fine because it's kind of a, what am I calling? What am I trying to say? They are heavy on the like hobby, I'll think of the word later. Like the factor of like everybody knows that the dairy cow because of milk and all that. Oh, thanks. I love this one. She's glossy. And then the bull models were introduced in 1958, and we're gonna go kind of heavy into the differences and like the times that these were introduced and what those cattle looked like. And that's kind of what I said right here. So it started with the Brahman, which is this guy, the humpy cows. We call them the humpy moos, and then the Herefords, which is this guy right down in here in this corner. So part 1, beef cattle. These are all pictures I took, by the way. I helped fit this heifer, and I helped picture this heifer, and I didn't do anything with this heifer except for picture her. Thanks. So, moving on. So, beef cattle then and now. So, we're going to talk about then, obviously, and then we're going to go into the now. So, obviously over here in this corner over here on the left side was what they used to look like, and now this is what they look like. So, we're going to top it off with one of the old ones that has not really changed a whole lot. I don't know much about the breed, like the breed association and everything, but the Texas Longhorn, if you want to talk about something that has like, besides the Brahma, high survivability, I don't know if that's the right word or not, That thing, you can throw it out there in the panhandle where there's only sagebrush and sticks, and that thing is going to survive and get fat, because that's what they were bred to do. They are a Spanish hybrid. There's a lot of theories of kind of where they came from, but the main important thing to remember is they were brought to Texas in the 1820s and 1830s. Guys, that's yeehaw days. So they might have been shorter looking, but I don't really know. Yeah. But they were really if you guys watch any Western anywhere, they were the main source of the cattle drives. There wasn't anything else. That was what they had to deal with. That was what they ate. That was their main source of income for those cattle drives. Of course, they were longhorned. Wow. They had longhorns, and for protection. I mean, they were out there in the middle of the sticks trying to fight for their lives, and that's pretty good. A set of those horns are pretty good for fighting for your life. I have seen longhorns, like horned cattle, at a hay bale, and there's tufts of hide on the end of those things. Not a fan. That's why we don't really like horns anymore in the cattle industry, just because they can hurt people. They're hard to work, and they don't look very good anymore. Now, with the longhorn thing, they do look good, just because that's what they are, is a longhorn. They were bred to have, they were bred to survive out there. You throw it out there, they can eat on a rock and get fat. So they were built to endure harsh environments. So Breyer introduced their model in 1969. Yes, I do. I've got one from Cattlemen's Congress. That guy was huge. Grand champion, by the way. So in 1964, the Texas Longhorn Breeders Association of America was formed. They almost did go extinct because of, I'm assuming, I didn't go into more research. I should have, guys. I'm sorry. Because of over harvesting, pretty much, as with everything. But in 1969, Breyer came out with their Texas Longhorn model, and really to this day, this is one that I don't think has changed over time. Because the model still represents what the cattle looked like back then and what they do now, because they're novelty. That's the word I was looking for. They're a novelty breed, and they're more bred for pasture ornaments than they are for anything else, because anymore, with the way that the industry has gone, they don't sell at the sale barn for very much. Now, if you sell it to somebody who's wanting to buy a pasture ornament, you can make a lot of money off of them. They are crazy colored. They're awesome hided. Love their hides. Love the colors of their hides. But they're really not that bad cattle. Like, I've got a friend of ours that she was actually the one that we were, raking hay for. She's got a really pretty longhorn out there, and I think she's just the sweetest. I don't know really much about their temperaments. Like I said, I don't raise these guys. I just wanted to dabble in them. But this is kind of how so if we're looking at this guy and how he's skinny, he's really not. I mean, this one on this side, she's not that bad. She's really good, conditioned. This guy's kind of skinny, but that's probably because they based him off of the ones that were out in the sticks. So like this guy right here, he doesn't look too good. He really doesn't. But, they're made to look like this. They're made to look for, they're not made to look fat. They're made to survive. And, to me, I think this is kind of a healthier looking guy than this guy. But if we're talking about this is taken in the 1900s of what they looked like, versus today, they're probably they look a little bit better. They look a little bit fleshier, I guess. But they're still the same. They still have the same ideas. Still have the long horns. Still have the crazy colored hide. So, in my opinion, they haven't changed a whole lot. Is everybody still with me? Because I felt like I went on a... Yes. Yes. Okay, so I was going to go over the Spanish Bull because he's one of the other ones that hasn't changed. But I ran out of time because, we're already like 9 o'clock. So But yeah, so that's one of the ones that I believe has not changed a whole lot. They're still pretty. I do have the newest one on my shelf because I just wanted a longhorn bull. But anyway, okay, so we're going to talk about, all right, before I get started, you notice up here it says British breeds. There are a handful of, and are you guys having a good time? Are you guys learning quite a bit? Because if not, let me know. Because I feel like I'm just rambling. There are, I want to say there's at least 3 different types. I'm not going to say types. That's like a weird word. But I'll rattle them off. There's British, European, and like American, or we call them American. They're actually, we say American. They're not really. They're kind of from, it's the Brahma pretty much. But there's actually 2 different subtypes. I say subtypes. I don't even know I don't know what you describe them as, but there's Bos Taurus and there's Bos Indicus cattle. Now, I want to say, don't even get me started on what dairy cattle are called. I'm assuming they're Bos Taurus. But anyway, Bos Taurus are going to be your beef cattle that are European and British descent. Your Bos Indicus, if you guys think of it this way, the Brahma is originally from India. So Bos Indicus, Indicus, is all of your eared stuff. So your Zebus, your Brahma, your Santa Gertrudis, your Brangus, anything that has extra skin, extra ears, is highly adaptable to heat and all that stuff. The slick-hided stuff, that's your Bos Indicus. Your Bos Taurus is going to be your eared, or not your eared stuff, your haired stuff, your shorthorns, your Hereford, your Angus, all that stuff. Think of Taurus, the zodiac, and go from there. So now we're going to talk break them down into like, okay, the locations. There we go. So where they came from, where they originated from. So the British cattle obviously came from the British Isles. Now I'm not going to say necessarily that they're going to be from Britain 100% because there's a couple of them that aren't. But we call them the British breeds just because they came from the British Isles. So we're breaking down into the Smurfs, the Herefords, the Shorties. Ashley, here's your thing. And then the Angus. You guys probably know the Angus more than anything because you guys hear of the certified Angus beef. That's where you're going to hear it from. Black-hided stuff, Angus. It's not always the case, but everybody assumes a black-hided cow or whatever is going to be Angus. That's because of the American Angus Association and putting that certified Angus beef deal out there, but I'm not going to get into it. Are you all still with me? Let me know in the comments. Let me get a drink. I gotta hydrate myself. Well, give me a second. I'm going into it, girl. Calm down. Actually, that heifer is not as pretty as the one you sent me. I just kind of took them off Google. Everybody let me know if you're still with me in the comments, please. I need to make sure I haven't made y'all fall asleep. Yeah, yeah, amen to that. Yeah, see, don't get me started on that, girl, because I'll go off on a whole thing. But that was probably one of the best marketing campaigns that the Angus industry could ever do. Her name, wait, your heifer, yeah. I wish I could show you guys that heifer that Ashley sent me. She's so pretty. Okay. First and foremost, we're going to start with the Smurfs. I call them Smurfs. They're not really. They're Herefords. We're going to start with the Herefords. They are from England, Herefordshire, believe it or not. 1817, the U.S., they got introduced to the U.S. by a Kentucky statesman. They are red bald-faced cattle. They were red bald-faced cattle with light pigmentation, mostly horned. I think 100% they were horned back in the day. Eventually, though, they got tired of the horned and they broke it off and made polled or bred polled cattle in the 1890s. I put my hat on backwards, guys. It's business time. If you guys can see some old renditions of the Herefords back in the day. So, let me see if I can go into... So, back in the day when the model... So, the mold, the Hereford mold was introduced... Yeah, have you not heard them call them Smurfs? Yeah, I call them Smurfs all the time. I don't know why. I think it's just Herefords, Smurf. I don't even know. Don't even quite... but the Herefords, the Hereford mold was introduced in 1958. So let's break this down. In the 1950s, the Herefords were small, what we call moderate, actually too small, curly-haired, mostly horned cattle. We called them belt buckle cattle. Now, they were bred significantly for to be more feed efficient, so less feed input. You don't put as much feed into something that's super small. Unfortunately, because they bred them to be so small, the dwarfism became a defect. Nowadays we do have what we call mini Herefords. They are more so a novelty breed, like the Longhorns are. So they are specifically bred to be small. But back then, that was what they wanted. You know how trends go. So they wanted the little bitty Herefords because it costs less to feed them. Nowadays, but we'll get into that anyway. But the calves had problems when they were babies, especially when they were this small. They couldn't grow, and eventually, the markets suffered from it, and they couldn't. The market suffered from it, and they weren't making as much money. They weren't making as much meat, I should say, because they were so small. Give me a second. Okay, my dog was barking, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. Okay, so there is another mold that was introduced, the Polled Hereford mold, in 1968. And you notice kind of the same thing here that is reflected in the 1968 model. They were a little bigger. They started kind of deciding, oh my God, those little bitty cows are not producing. The calves are not healthy. There's not a whole lot of meat that we can get off of these guys. So they started breeding them a little bit bigger. And that's kind of what we're talking about here. This is a Polled Hereford bull, about the same, build and everything as this guy. So they started getting a little bit bigger. You know how trends are. And then eventually they got to be where they're a little bit more feed efficient. Or I say for more feed efficient. They started gaining a little bit more. So, but that's the Hereford. That's not a whole lot, but I know that's probably... no, he's the black and white photo. They're all black and white. But yeah, so this guy, he might take a little bit more feed to keep him alive. But he's probably going to produce a little bit bigger cattle, a little bit more healthier calves. I hope that makes sense. But so that's the 1968 and the 1950s cattle. My dad showed this size because he was 1970-ish. So he showed this kind of size, maybe a little bit bigger. I think when I saw his steer photo, this was about this size. So this guy is still a little smaller than he needs to be, but he's way bigger. Oh, the model is just a dark red. He's a dark red color. but he's technically kind of like a dark cherry red. So the thing about Herefords is, so back in the day, this is another thing. Back in the day, like I said, they were light pigmented. So when I'm talking about pigmented, I'm talking about like in the eye area, light skinned down where the udder would be, and all that stuff. That became a problem. So we'll talk about that later for the modern stuff. Now we're going to move on to Angus. Maybe. There we go. So Angus cattle, they are from Aberdeen, Scotland. So like I said, they weren't all from the British Isles. Well, I mean, they're from the British Isles. They weren't all from England. They, the Aberdeen Angus is what they called them back then. There still are Aberdeen, but we're not going to go into that. They were introduced to the U.S. in 1873. This, by far, you were looking at the most popular breed in all of everything. Yeah, I'm not going to break down into that just because that's another thing that I'll get going. Yeah, the black Hereford, what she's talking about is pretty much a black Hereford. I mean, it's white-faced, white points, just black-hided. So heavily influenced by this guy. But the association was founded in 1883 in Illinois. It's not there anymore. It's actually in a different spot. But they were bred to be moderate, good milkers, really good meat quality. But, of course, they got hit with the tiny syndrome. So in 1950s, the Angus model was introduced, and it was on this mold right here. You noticed, obviously, back in the day, they didn't believe, they thought the curly hair was good. They thought the curly hair was pretty. So they kind of kept that, and obviously this guy's got that old show halter on like this guy does. So same thing with these. They bred them so small that they suffered from the dwarfism too. But eventually they decided that that's not going to, for the same reasons that the Hereford suffered from. They didn't like that. They weren't, they couldn't get a good harvest rate. They got fat too quick. And they didn't feed out great. So, in 1970s, they started to breed them. I can't remember how they did it, but they started to breed them probably with other cattle that were bigger, like European breeds. I can't remember, guys. Don't quote me on this. Like I said, I didn't dive too far into that because I don't want to bore y'all. So they made them bigger. They made them taller. They made them what we call framier. So bigger framed, more leg, and they also kind of leaned toward leaner made, so less chunky like this guy, less chunky and more athletic. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but they became taller and leaner in the 1960s. They bred them to be too tall eventually. And I was going to say that possibly the Chianina, but I'm not sure. The Chianina were very lean, very leggy cattle. Definitely do not look the same today. And I want to say they might have. I'm not sure. I didn't do a whole lot of research into it. So they steered away from that and they started making them so tall that this is the model now, but they started making them so tall that they just got to where they were so lean, so leggy, so big that they just looked like this guy over here. Now the model comparison between these two, he's a little leaner, but he's not this lean. He's not this tall. He's more of a moderate framed. I would say he's more of a moderate framed, kind of what some Angus bulls look like now. So this mold itself, does he look like a show bull? No. But does he look like something I would find out in a pasture and somebody's, yeah, I think I agree with you, Ash. And they do look a bit taller. But he looks like something I would find out in the pasture now. So I would say that this model has not changed a whole lot. Now the Angus breed, Oh yeah, it's changed a lot. Like 1980s, 1970s, they were tall. 1950s, belt buckle cattle. So I'll go into that later, but we kind of started steering away from that because this guy in the 19 that my little mouse is woo on, that takes a lot of feed to get where he needs to go. And that's a lot of money. And people weren't looking to spend a lot of money. So, and then we're going to get into the Shorthorns. So the Shorthorns were from the northeast of England. They originally were dual purpose cattle and also produced meat. So over time, you know, they separated them. But they are almost always. So let's go back into this. We're gonna here I go, diverging again. Hereford cattle are always going to be red and white. They're always going to be... Sorry, there's somebody just pulled in my driveway. Who are you? So they're always going to be red and white with white faces, mostly. I say that. Red and white faces with white points. So they're going to have like a white switch or a white underbelly, white on the front end. And then what most of them will have is this white right here along their neck called what we call a feather. There are some that don't have a feather this big. They'll have like a little white spot. We call it tick-necked, or there's red-necked. So I would say most of the time they'll have this white right here. But sometimes they won't. That's just individual. It's like a zebra having different colors and different, they're, you know, different stripes. They're all different. So they're always, almost always going to have white points, white face, and white underbellies and stuff like that. Angus are always black, 1000% black. When I talk about fitting cattle, you cannot paint these guys. They won't let you. But they're always black. Now, they do maybe allow a little bit of like a white flank, like right in here, but if it gets past here, you can't. Angus don't allow a lot of crossbreds, except for a couple of them. Like in the Angus Association, it just kind of depends. Let's see. Yeah, what Ashley's talking about is back in the day. We'll talk about that more when it comes to the today stuff. So moving on. So Shorthorns are always going to be red, roan, red and white, or white. There is no purebreds. I say purebred Shorthorns because they have diverged into a different type called the Shorthorn Plus, but we'll get into that later. We'll talk about that some other time. But these are what they looked like back in the day. And obviously we see a trend here. The little shorty over in this corner. And then we see the big guy eventually. But these are all within the same time period, really. But they're more, but like I said, they're white, roan, or dark, deep red. Ashley's heifer is red and white. Now, this is going to be kind of like talking about as Ashley mentioned earlier, she noticed that there wasn't a Shorthorn model. This is the closest I could find to maybe possibly being something along the lines of a Shorthorn, but I could be incorrect because this is Reuben. He was a web special in 350 pieces in 2019. This is the closest I could come, but they did not say he was. They just said he was a red roan. So to this day, Breyer has not produced any Shorthorn, what they stated as a Shorthorn. So unfortunately, I can't get into the model thing because I couldn't find anything else. So let's dive into what they are now. Everybody okay and still with me? Because I'm going. It's going to probably be like 10 o'clock before I'm done. Everybody good? Everybody okay? Excited? Is this like informational? You guys learning a lot? Let me know. Because like I said, I can go off and tangents and get distracted. Let me know in the comments, guys. I know Ashley's learned a lot.
A real Etsy buyer review for handmade home decor by a real Etsy
I
buyer.
hope so. That would be amazing. Have they introduced? They haven't introduced anything that's non-equid before, though. But that would be awesome if they did it like a non-equid and it was a shorthorn. That'd be amazing. I would kill over if they made one to look like what they look like now.
Doesn't every airline do assigned seating?
They do now.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on. So we're going to talk about the British breeds now. Now, all I have are photos. I say that. Yeah, okay. So all I have are photos. Yeah, I would cry too. I did get my dad that Angus mold to have on his desk when he was working at the feed mill, and put his brand on it because it looked like our Angus bull. Okay, so British breeds now. So like I said, I only have photos, and we're going to talk about this. So the Angus, the Angus breed, besides the certified Angus beef, the Angus breed has influenced every single breed that I've ever messed with, besides Herefords and Shorthorns. And the reason I'm saying that is because when they launched the certified Angus beef marketing campaign, everybody and their dog started going, oh my God, black-hided cattle are awesome. They make the most money, they have the best meat quality, blah, blah, blah. Angus are known for their marbling, which it's pretty much the little white flecks that you see in your meat when you go and get a steak. That's marbling. That's flavor. And they're good for marbling. They're good moms. They're very maternal. When we say maternal, made for moms. And they're made to be very good moms. Now, one thing they do suffer from is they do not have a lot of power. I say that that's another trend that's getting there, but they don't have a lot of power, but they're made to be mom makers, cow makers. So nowadays the Angus breed has gotten a little bit more moderate compared to what they were in the 1970s and 1980s. If you're looking at this guy, he's still a powerful bull. He's just they're leaning more toward keeping him feminine, keeping him deep, keeping him maternal looking. This guy kind of fits those bills. He fits the build. He checks all the boxes as being the new type of Angus that they're trying to keep, like, make moderate females so you don't have to feed them a whole lot. Now, are they going to make them small, like tiny? No. They're kind of keeping them in between. They're keeping them between that 1970s and 1950s version to where they still have some frame to them now. They're just a little easier to feed, but a lot better to look at. So that's the Angus now. That's the Angus traits now. The Angus suffer a lot from, though, not having a whole lot back here. Here's another good example of, so this is what we would call your halter quarter horse. This is a show bull. This guy is bred to make show cattle. And what I'm talking about is, this is the fitting that I'm talking about. Everything looks streamlined. He's fluffy. Everything looks good lines. He's boxy. He's whatever. This is the new Angus now. This guy's a little older. He's a little bit more of an older type bull. This is the new Angus. Pretty fronted, really good fronted. Has some power, has some look. When we say a look, we're talking about like pretty from the side. Level topped. I mean, this is what we're looking at. This is the new Angus. And he's adorable. I bet his ears are huge. I have an obsession with fluffy-eared cattle. Hence this guy back in the background right here. This is Iceman. Yeah, he cute. He go boy. And here's some more. So this is a young heifer. So she looks kind of like the 1950s and all that. It's because she's a baby. This is the new age of females. So they're wanting them, when I say deep bodied from here to here, Her brisket right here does not go past this point of her navel. So they want them deep bodied. They want them pretty. So she has none of like this blah, blah, blah up here. Pretty fronted. And then here is the Grand Champion Angus Bull in Reserve Grand. I'm so sorry, Reserve Grand, 2021. Big, powerful, massive. Now he does look big, but he is not 1978 big or 1988 big. But they're making them to where they are functional cattle. They can go out and they can survive in pasture, and still keep their cover and not die. Moving on. Hereford bulls now, you guys notice they're a little bit more moderate. Like nowadays, every cattle breeder is wanting to stick to moderation. They don't want to put a whole lot in them, but they want them to make a whole lot more, if that makes any sense. They want to make sure that they're going to feed good and stay within a really, a decent condition. I hope that makes sense, guys. I really hope that makes sense. Herefords now, so we're going to talk about this too. Herefords now are starting to kind of be bred with a little bit more like a darker pigmentation in their skin color. So when I was talking about like the light pigmentation, nowadays these Herefords are getting a little bit more color around their eyes. And the reason being is because back in the day, thank you. Yeah, they're so pretty. So this is an Oklahoma show, by the way. It takes place in the city. You should go see it. It's awesome. These are Oklahoma people, but it's like a national show. Anyway, so Herefords back in the day were having a lot of problems with sunburned udders, and pink eye, which is Ashley, explain that for me because I forgot. It's like it's not a disease. It's an eye infection, a really bad eye infection that can cause them to go blind, because of the sun. Now, it's not always the sun, but sometimes it is the sun. And then sunburn, like a lot of sunburn, and that just caused lots of problems. So they're starting to breed Hereford cattle more to have darker pigmentation around the eyes so they don't go blind, so they don't have pink eye problems. And they're starting to, to make sure that they have darker pigmentation so they don't get sunburned boobies, because that's not good if you have a calf that's trying to suckle on your boobies, on your cow. Then yes, and cancer eye. Thank you. If you've got a calf that's trying to nurse on a cow and she's got sunburn, udder, she's not going to let him nurse because it hurts. So now they're starting to make these cattle to where they have, better pigmentation, more just the ability to be out in the sun more, because white attracts sunlight, it reflects. And so if they don't have that, then they don't need it. But I've seen a lot of Herefords nowadays too. You notice they're all white faced. I have seen some that have goggle eyes. So when we say goggle eyes, red around these eyes. I didn't get a good example, but that's another trait now. They're starting to allow that because, like I said, it's less reflective in the sunlight. So it helps them kind of keep from getting the cancer eye, keep getting the pink eye. I hope that makes sense. Y'all give me a thumbs up or say, yep, that makes sense in the comments for me, because I hope that does, because I got another rampage again, or another thing again. Yes, so like the bald face horses that I see a lot, yeah, they can get, I couldn't imagine how sunburnt they can get. Okay, so that's the Herefords now. And they're still kind of keeping with, Herefords were, you notice how they're a little bit better, like they're fluffier. They don't have the curly hair anymore. Herefords naturally had the curly hair. Like, it was really hard to get it out of their system. So they're breeding Herefords with better hair, because when you do show cattle, it's all about hair. It's all about making them look pretty, and the hair and the clip jobs and all that stuff. So, but I think they're still kind of staying with the functional cattle too, making them, functional. You can throw them out on cows. In the Hereford history, they started throwing Hereford bulls on black cows to make black bald-faced calves. Not black Herefords, black Herefords, but black-faced or black white-faced cattle, because for some reason the trend was decided that they were both out of, the British breeds, and they were awesome in carcass quality, meat, all of that stuff. They were just better. They were, I don't know. I'd have to do more research on that part, but black bald-faced cattle was where it was at. It still kind of is, but they're kind of sort of leaning into more like colored cattle, noticing that, oh, hey, not all black hide cattle are good quality as far as carcass quality. So, the black Herefords, they've got to be they've got Angus in them somewhere. But like they were taking the Herefords and breeding them to Angus and making or they're a recessive gene? ? Yeah, look that up for me if you can, Ash, because I guess I confused myself. Okay, shorthorn bulls now. So shorties, the shorthorns that are beef are more, like I said, they're leaning more toward beef. And Ashley can help me explain a little bit better, but they're more powerful. They're bigger bone. They're not focusing on the dairy qualities anymore. They're focusing on meat quality, and all of that. So they're making them more maternal. They're still powerful. They still have some muscle, bone density, all that stuff. But the main characteristic that I like about these guys is they are hairy. They are fluffy. And shorthorns are awesome for putting on cattle to make them colorful, to make them get... Yes, so they are Hereford Angus crosses, but they made them into a breed. The first generation offspring. Well, I'm not saying they're crossbreds, but they made them into a breed. But so shorthorns, like a lot of people, and Ashley can correct me if I'm wrong here. Yeah, so that's what they were. So a long time ago, it's like, Madison, if you remember on the quarter horse thing, I don't know if you or whoever, anybody that does the horse thing, there was a disease in quarter horses, and I can't remember what it was called, but I'm going to connect them here, because is it like it's not HYPP, is it? It's something like, just let me know if I'm on the wrong track here. Yeah. No, they don't. But they're more focused on anymore, the shorties, or they're starting to focus more on show cattle, I think, right? On that one. If they wanted something that was loud colored, they're kind of wanting it for show cattle stuff. But there was so in the quarter horse deal, one of the sires, I think, had some sort of disease of some sort that was introduced, that got introduced to a bunch of the other, its offspring. And I'm not saying that the shorthorn was the reason, but there is a disease. There's a couple of them that are in show cattle now that you've got to watch out for. That HYPP. Okay, thank you. So HYPP is, to you guys, the horse people, or to yeah, okay. As what we call PHA or TH, because in the show cattle industry, thank you. Okay, and DS, in the show cattle industry, I just know this because of TH. That's all I'm going to say. But in the show cattle industry, they wanted lots of hair, So they bred to Shorthorns and Maines. I heard mostly Shorthorns, but I'm not sure, to get that hair. But that's where this disease came from. So, yeah, there's a little bit of that. But Shorthorns are mostly, they're loud colored, they're pretty colored, they're hairy, mostly hairy. Ashley says she had one that didn't have a whole lot of hair. Most of the ones that I've come in contact with have had hair, but you're the Shorthorn person. And then they're just pretty. They're pretty to look at. They're good moms. Are they good moms? I think they're pretty good. They're decent moms. Yeah, see, and HYPP is the one that I remember. I couldn't remember exactly what it was for, or what it was, though. But yeah, so these are Shorthorns now. They're more moderate frame. They're big boned. The beef Shorthorns are big boned. They're moderate frame. Now the dairy Shorthorns, obviously they look like dairy cattle, but they're still about the same color. But yeah, in the show industry, yes, they wanted to. Yeah, okay. So they're great moms. Their meat quality's pretty good. They milk good. But mostly everybody likes the Shorthorns because they're pretty. And I think they're gorgeous. I love a good Shorthorn. But I don't know, Ash, why do you like Shorthorns? So I went ahead and included the information if you guys want to ever look up more on the breeds and stuff. I could have gotten completely wrong. But here's the association. They're all in Missouri, most of them. But they are, they're very helpful. They've got a lot of information. You can learn a lot about, the different things that they've got going on. And I just figured this would be a little helpful. And then we're going to bounce into European breeds. I'm going to just fly through this because I'm so sorry, guys. I'm taking forever. So this one's near and dear to my heart because this is what we raise. Not these guys. No, not these guys. So it's Simmental, but it's spelled Simmental. The Simmental is a Switzerland breed. It's a Swiss breed. They were originally, and you guys are going to freak out because they don't look anything like this anymore. They have some, but, is it not Platwoods? That's what I look like. That's what I saw on in the website. So they were red and white horned originally. Let me look over here. Hold on. It's gonna bother me now. Hold on. I'm gonna trust you because you deal with it more than I do. Yeah, it says Platwoods, Missouri on Google. American Shorthorn Association. Did it move? Okay, so Simmentals were red and white originally. They were kind of the breed that was focused, like dual purpose. So they were milk, they were draft work. They used them because they are a very powerful, and you're going to notice the difference between the two. What the heck? What are you looking up? Girl, I looked up American Shorthorn Association. Okay, I'm going to trust you because you do more than that than I do. But you're going to notice between the European breeds and the British breeds, the British breeds are more refined. So lighter bone density, more feminine, less crud in their front end, stuff like that. The European breeds are a little bit bigger boned. They're a little bit more massive. They have more meat shape. We'll talk about that later. But these guys were used for draft work. They've got a lot of frame. They did like them because they milked really well. And then they were very gentle. They weren't crazy. They were just they were very good temperament. And temperament's a big thing. We don't like to almost die when we're working cattle. But I'd got on here that the herd book in Switzerland kind of dates back to 1806 because they're an older breed. But they were imported to the States in 1968. And they were mostly, like I said, they were mostly red and white, speckled, solid, just depends. I do love this breed just because I absolutely love them. So in the Simmental mold, they were horned and mostly horned. The Simmental mold, the horned model was a regular run in 1996. They, like I said, they can be horned and polled. There was a polled version made in 1983 for the National Simmental Association. There was only like 144 made. That's this middle one right here. I'm not sure. I think he's red and white. He looks black and white to me, but oh no. Okay. Sorry. This guy right here is the polled version. I'm so sorry. And then the black and white version was a live auction model in 1998. So nowadays, like the 1980s, you guys can see, here's the polled, here's the horned version. This is kind of what they look like. They matched. This is based off of this one right here specifically is based off of the Charolais, but I'll talk to you guys about that in a minute. So they based it, this kind of, to me, they look the same. In the 1980s, they're about the same. Still the red and white, still, the horned and the polled, still a white fleece. They kind of look, if you looked at them, kind of look like Herefords, but these guys are more painted than a Hereford. I'm so sorry. I talk too much and I get allergies really bad. So this is the comparison. Obviously, at the time, 1980s, when this model was introduced, they were right. So you guys try to pronounce this name, and I'll tell you what I pronounce it as. I actually just said it a minute ago. This is the Charolais breed, and this is probably one of the most pivotal breeds that came from Europe. Because for a little bit, between the era of the shorthorn, or the short cattle and the tall cattle, I guess the beef industry decided that they wanted to introduce something with a lot of power, a lot of lean. They wanted to introduce a lot of lean, so they introduced this guy to a lot of herds to get more meat quality. But this is a French breed from 1773. I've got the map here, kind of where they're from. But they're from the Charlotte. Don't even ask me. Central France. They had really good meat quality, and they really liked them back in the day because they were lean. They didn't have a lot of fat. I'm telling you, isn't he a beast? Oof. They didn't have a lot of fat because people wanted to stay healthy back in the day. So the first Charolais was introduced from Mexico in 1934. They're naturally horned, as was everything, but through a lot of breeding, they got some polled versions. There is no other color of purebred Charolais besides white. They are 1000% always going to be white. Now they, of course, with everything, they crossbreed them now, so they have a percentage Charolais. But a purebred Charolais will always be white. If they are not, they are crossbred. But these are older versions of the Charolais that I can find. Very powerful, very lean, very round. Just a very powerful breed. When I think of a Charolais, I think of lean meat and power. That's all I think about. And as Madison put it, he is a unit. He is a big boy. So in the model comparison, the model was first introduced in 1975. As far as I know, Charolais cattle did not suffer from the dwarf cattle syndrome. They've always been relatively big. And as a matter of fact, they've been too big before. To where there was a lot of birthing problems because they were getting too big to where the cattle were having problems giving birth to them. But the model was apparently, I guess, discontinued in 1995. I didn't really understand that, so I put question marks on there. He is horned because, like this guy up here, this is kind of the closest I could find to fit this guy. He is horned. Most of the ones I see nowadays are polled, but he's still all white. His horns aren't white, but well, no, I don't know. I can't remember if the horns are white. But they really, like I said, they really haven't changed a whole lot. I would say as far as frame wise. But this is the model comparison. I thought this was a really good comparison between the two for the times. So 1975 kind of getting a little framed, little lean. They started introducing Charolais genetics into a lot of like Angus breeds to get them less fat, to get them more meat. They had a big thing where that's all they wanted was a lean meat. There was like a lean meat craze, so they started introducing Charolais or Chianinas, mostly Charolais though. So here's some more examples of the time. So yeah, lots of legs, lots around. This guy's I thought this was kind of cool though, because it's the American International Charolais Association. It's not the American Charolais Association, because they do deal a lot with overseas stuff. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I like this little deal. So here are the Charolais now. This guy at the bottom is a more practical. Yes, they have a lot of good growth. So when Ashley says they have good growth, that means that they grow really good and they don't grow too early. They continue to grow and they continue to gain, and tend to make. I mean, they're still kind of leaning toward the black-hided thing, in the sale barns. But these guys, if you put them on black-hided cattle and get some what we call smoky cattle, I think they tend to make a good profit. So the one on the bottom that Ashley's liking a lot, this one's the more practical. You throw him out into the pasture and he'll cover your cows for you. The top two are show cattle. They're more so normal Charolais. Like I mentioned before, like the European breeds, they're going to be powerful, big boned, lots of front end blah, blah, blah going on. What I've started noticing, and this is just recently, what I've started noticing in the Charolais show cattle industry is they're starting to make them more feminine. They're starting to make them to where they do have calves easier. They started making them a little bit more, I'm not going to say refined in their bone work, but they're making them a little more pretty. Because what the Charolais beforehand, I'm sorry, Madison, not Ashley. Madison likes the one in the bottom. I'm so sorry. Your guys' profile photos are the same color and I'm being retarded. I'm not focusing. I'm so sorry, Madison. So Madison likes the more practical guy that you can just throw out into a field and he'll cover your cows. But what I've started noticing just recently, like I said, is prior to all of this, Charolais cattle were stout, ugly, round, just bleh. But now they're starting to make them prettier. They're starting to make them more functional to where they can actually function outside of the show ring, out in the field, whatever. They're starting to make them to where they can actually, like I said, not have calving problems. I do like a good Charolais. I like them now. I do not like them back then. So here are the Simmental Association and the Charolais Association. It's one of those things that's getting late and I need to go to bed. But it's okay. I'm still going. So yeah, the breed associations and their locations. We are members of the Simmental Association. Cody and I actually got registered the other day and we got a certificate. So we've got to register some of our cows. Yay. Okay, we're going to talk, like I said, a little bit into the Bos Indicus, or what we call the American breeds, even though they're not from America. We just call them the American breeds. So the eared stuff. The only one I'm going to talk about right now is a Brahma. So you guys are probably very familiar with what these guys look like. Those are the humpy cattle, the Brahma. They say they were originated in India. I'm going to say so, because they're all over the place in India. I'm going to say like Asian. They're like an Asian breed of cattle. Over 4,000 years ago, so they've been around for a while. They were first introduced to Texas in the mid 1800s. Sorry, guys, I'm wiping my nose. They pretty much took a Brahma bull, put him on Shorthorns and Herefords, and made them more drought resistant. Well, not drought resistant, disease and pest resistant. The main thing that you got to remember about these guys, Brahma have loose skin because people liked them. Yes, Brahma are very, very, very popular in Brazil. But they're loose skinned, loose hided, because they're pretty much the camels of like southern South America, and hot places like, India is still humid. Hot places like Texas back in the day, like they are. Well, no, they are 100% popular in Brazil, because of the heat, because they're past the equator. So, well, I don't know. Yeah, Brazil. I want to say yeah, because Brazil's right below the equator or above, right around in there. It's like close to the equator, so it's hot. No, I think you're good. Yeah. Because I've met a lot of, or I say I've met a lot of people. I've seen a lot of Brahma in Brazil. But you got to understand too, they worship them they do not eat them over in India. They're everywhere. Now I think they use them for maybe getting around. I don't know. I can't remember. I think somebody told me that they're just all over the place. But yeah, they're not bred for their meat. They're literally bred because they are disease resistant. So any calves that came from them were going to be looser hided, slicker hided, and very resistant against pink eye, flies, ticks, you name it. And like the longhorn, you can pick them up, take them, and throw them out, and they'll survive off the stick. They'll eat sticks and rocks and stuff. Not really rocks, guys. I was kidding. But they're most noted, like it's a Brahma because of their heavy ears, humps, and they come in gray, red, sometimes black, but they are black skinned, black pigmented in their skin. So that way they can go out and they can graze and not get hot. So they are resistant to sunburn. They're, 100,000%. Yes, they do pamper them in India. Yeah. I'm going to say yeah, because they represent one of their gods. So that's a whole other thing. But mostly 1,000%, the older Brahma were horned. And we're talking about this in the model comparison. So the model was introduced in 1956 and 1957 and somewhat discontinued, I guess, in 1967. That was the glossy model. Curved horns, glossy. The matte model was introduced in 1968 and 1995. So I have got pictures over here of these two guys in the comparison. And you notice, like, right up here, these are actually going to be like South American Brahma. And mostly probably like they look like zebu, but notice the horns. So this is where Breyer is getting their horn curvature and everything is from these guys. This guy, in my opinion, is based more off of the South American than the American type. But this guy down here, probably still kind of the same thing. But that's in the comparison here. These are 1950s, 1968s. So I think Breyer, what they did is they took these older versions before we got a hold of them in America, and based it off of that. Because these guys are a little rounder. This one's a little rounder. He's a little bit more. The horns are what get me. Because nowadays, all I see are polled Brahma. But, yeah, the horns are definitely a sign of the times for me. But they also introduced the red Brahma in 1996 to 2004. So he's a little bit more, he has not been discontinued. Well, I say that for very long. God, 2004 was a long time ago. But he's a little bit more recent, I should say, I guess, recently retired. But you guys noticed, they took the same mold with horns and everything and just slapped him with a new paint job. These are the 1996 red Brahma that I found, and they're all polled. So, yes, I would love to have a glossy Brahma. I would love, because I just love them. My dad wants one, and I told him he was crazy, but they're, I don't know if I talked about that. They're very calm. People say that they're crazy. They're not. They're really calm. They're good moms. Oh my God, they're good moms. If you breed, when we breed them with, the tiger stripe females, Ashley, I can't remember what they breed them to. We call them the F1 tiger stripe females. They will eat people. Not literally, but they will try to kill somebody because they are just amazing. Yes, I love red Brahmas. I think red Brahmas are so cool. So, story time, right quick. I was helping at that camp that I had a picture at, like on the first couple of slides. And one of the girls, so I was in charge of a group of kids, high school kids, and I was their instructor. Thank you, Herefords. And I was an instructor, and I was helping them, I was teaching them and all that stuff. And one of them had a Brahma heifer, and I didn't know she was behind me until that heifer goes brrr really loud and scares the heck out of me. And I turned around so fast, I was like, oh my God. So they have really deep moos. And it scared me because I'm not used to them. I'm used to Bos Taurus moos, not Bos Indicus moos. Anyway, there's a story time for y'all. So here's Brahman cattle now. So in my opinion, they're about the same. This guy's horned, obviously. Some of these are probably overseas pictures. This one is, I don't know. There's a really awesome Texas breeder that we call the V8 Ranch. They breed some of the best Brahman in the country and in the world. And they have they have so much show success, but they're making their Brahma cattle to be prettier. And that's pretty much about all I've noticed, really. They're polled. Most of them are polled that I have seen. Like this guy, I'm assuming he's going to be an overseas version. But this one right here, yeah, V8's awesome. We went down there to go judge and work on because we were getting ready to work in like the Texas contests, and they have a lot of American cattle down there. So I'm not very good at judging Brahma. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really bad at them. But they're starting to make them in America. They're starting to make them prettier. Less, like you guys noticed, this big, what we call the dewlap down here. They're starting to take away from that, make them prettier. And so they're starting to make them prettier, starting to make them more feminine. This is a dude. Starting to make them just less blah, blah, blah. I mean, they're still pest resistant. They're still able to be in the heat and survive better and all that stuff. Oh yeah, they are coming back. Yeah. I think one of the daughter or something, she's got a little boy, and she's starting to show. They're starting to show now. So they're starting to refine these guys down quite a bit. They're still awesome. Like I said, they're still heat resistant. They're still pest resistant. They haven't changed a lot, just a little, like a couple of little things. Okay. So, the last little bit of this, I'm going to go over. There is another difference in the cattle. So there is a difference between the our American version of those breeds versus the Euro and European, or the Euro and British version of theirs. So you have to understand that, of course, most of these cattle originated from across the pond. The Herefords, especially the Angus, Simmentals, you name it. And a lot has changed since us Americans have gotten our grubby hands on them. So, if you notice, the bull on the right is European, and the cow and calf are European. Some of our American cows and calves look like those, but mostly, if you look to the left, those are the Americanized versions. We've made them fancier, we've made them deeper bodied, we've made them finer haired, we've made them just a little bit better, I guess. I'm not gonna say better. We've just Americanized the crap out of them. And these both are like show cattle, so they're both bred to breed. They're bred to produce show cattle. One thing that I have been so proud of the Americans, though, is the udder quality on the one on the right. If you look at her, very bad. So we have made, because the Herefords are not, they're not well known for their udder quality. They break down really bad, and that's a bad thing. So if you look at the Americanized version, she's better. She looks way better. That's just a cattle person thing, because you want them to be able to have a good udder, to be able to have, keep a calf and feed a calf right and everything like that. It's like a mare. A mare's got to have a good udder to be able to feed her foal, keep her foal alive. And if her udder breaks down, then that's a problem. So same thing with cattle. So that's one thing I have noticed about Americanized versions of cattle is they've made better udders on these guys, that they raise better calves. So, but that's the distinct difference between the two is this is the less dramatic version. So moving on, here is the dramatic version of the Simmental. Can you guys guess which one is the American and which one is the Europeanized version? Or the European version and the Americanized version. So, off to the right is our Europeans. And up at the top is an actual Swiss Simmental. She is the dairy cow, the beef cow. She's the everything. She's what they used to be. Down below is the Simmental bull, now what they show now. And over on the right is the Americanized version. So, going into a big old long spill, these are Angus influenced now. So, there's a little touch of Angus in there somewhere. Because the Simmental were never black. When they came over from the pond, they were never black. So, there's a touch of Angus in there somewhere, way down in there somewhere. So, we decided that black-hided, like I said, it was a marketing thing. We decided black-hided was a great deal. So we started touching everything with black, the black-hided stuff. So yeah, she is, which one? The top left? Oh, she's one that I grabbed off of a show heifer site. So she's probably like a percentage or something, but she's got a crazy funky colored head. Most Simmental nowadays they're black-hided or there are reds. I'll show you guys a red here in a little bit. And my favorite Simmentals are the blaze faces. I love the blaze, or this gal that's up in the top left that Ashley was pointing out. I love her face. So, going on to and then you've got some cattle that are crossbreds that look like European breeds. So what do y'all think about the Simmental now, like overseas versus what we've got on our side? What do y'all think? I think I made y'all fall asleep. I'm sorry. Stay with me, guys. So, I guess you've got some cattle that look like British breeds, but if we're being honest here, so what do y'all think this one is? This looks like a Hereford, right? I'm glad you guys are here. So this looks like a Hereford, right? So this was a heifer re-raised back in 2015, 16, something like that, when I was in college. She is actually another breed that we didn't discuss that is completely different than what they ever were, than what they are now. But a Maine Anjou, I think it's a French breed. Sounds like au jus sauce. She is a Maine Anjou Hereford cross. And we showed her as a commercial. But we were told that if she was a purebred Hereford, she would have done okay. This is Dorothy. She was shown by a young lady over in where I'm from. So, yeah, she is definitely not a Hereford. This is I want to say she's a Simmental. So this is kind of another one. So if y'all were looking at this one, what breed would you think this guy is? This is Iceman. Ashley, you can't answer because you know. Y'all type your guesses. Y'all type your guesses in the comments. Guess Iceman's breed, and I'll tell you what he is. Ashley's not allowed because she knows. Because she was there when I was talking to her about it. Yeah, I think you did. They ended up selling him in that sale over in, I think, Fairview. Yeah, he's a turd. He was a turd. Like, I took this picture, y'all, and this is one of the only times we got him to stand still. Because the other ones, he was running around all over the place trying to beat up the owner. He's just he's like a big baby. He was a big child. Okay, so y'all are gonna get blown away. He is if I'm remembering correctly, he is a Shorthorn plus. So he's got Shorthorn blood. So Shorthorns, don't forget, Shorthorns can be white as well. From what I remember, yeah, I've got video footage of him trying to beat. Oh, you're okay. You're fine. You're good. But I've got video footage of him trying to like headbutt Travis, which was the owner of this guy. And of course, you know, it's always Travis dealing with him because he's a butt, and like this guy's a little butthole. But yeah, he's a Shorthorn. He is actually from a family up in Ponca that I help with a lot. But yeah, just ask man. Okay, guess this breed, guys. We'll have a little quiz time. And seriously, if you guys get it wrong, it's okay. Because believe it or not, it's hard. Because these are Americanized versions of these breeds now. They used to be like one color. Now there are 40,000 of them. I'll tell you, this is a purebred Simmental. This is actually raised by a friend of mine. We were showing at Tulsa last year. Her name is Crouton. Yeah. Her name is Crouton, by the way. I don't know why they thought that was a good name, but anyway. But yeah, this is her. She is a purebred Simmental. Me too, Madison. I really wish, because the Bucking Bulls, that's another whole thing we might get into later, maybe, is breaking down what they are, because we've got a really big outfit over in Medill, Oklahoma that raises both really good Herefords, really good Maines, and Bucking Bulls. And believe it or not, their last name is Buck. All right. So we didn't cover this breed, but this is a Limousin. Thanks. Yeah, Lindsay, when she told me what they named that heifer, I was like, what? Makes me want a salad real bad. This is a Limousin. I cannot remember for the life of me where they're from. I want to say, it's kind of spelled like limousine, like the car. But believe it or not, when they were back overseas, I want to say they were like, oh, don't get me lying to you guys, like not French, maybe French, around in that area somewhere. They were, yeah, Buck has got some awesome cattle. I've actually, Rainy, the girl pictured here, she has a Buck Key and a Buck Hereford, or she did. Now she's got a Buck Angus. But Limousin were red hided, like this color, but they were heavy influence with Angus, and so they call them limb flexes now. Thank you, French. Most of them came from France, I want to say. I love me a good Lemmy, guys. This was Luna. She was my favorite. I loved her so much. She was one of my, the best. Rainy was Rainy's favorite too. And then here's a pretty cool comparison. This was another breed that we didn't talk about, but I did this for like a thing in college. We got Dorothy here again. She's not a Hereford, guys. So here's the main Anjou, what the main Anjou looked like overseas back in the day. Yeah, hey, Bucks has got some good stuff. So this is what the main Anjou looked like back in the days, over in this top left corner where my little mouse is. This is what they look like now. This was a heifer that we have. We still have her, actually. Her name is Connie. But this is what they look like now. Black, obviously. But there are some main Anjous that are still red and white. They're just better looking. And a Hereford. This is not a Hereford, but I used it as a comparison. So that, not drastic on the color changes, but, whatever we talked about earlier. The next one that we did not cover is a Chianina. And, Ashley, where did they come from again? They're not French. They're completely different. I want to say they're like, not South American. They're maybe South American. Don't quote me on that. But Chianina is one of the craziest, I'm not going to say glow-ups either, but these guys were white, black-nosed, and really crazy. They're still, according to most of my cattle people that I know, they're still crazy, but they're very Italian, thank you. So they are back in Italy. They were really tall, really leggy, really lean, kind of like a Charolais. There's no rib at all here. And black, like I said, black points, like black tail switch, black nose, everything. But now they're black. And I have seen the key thing is a little crazy. It's a little all over the place, but mostly they're black. So, but anyway, that's just a kind of a side-by-side comparison of what they were and what they are now. Yeah, keys have they've got a personality. The one that Rainy showed wasn't too bad. But I think the one I showed a steer that was kind of nuts at first, but then he kind of mellowed out. So I don't know, it just kind of depends. But most of the time it's like everybody's been like, keys are nuts. So, okay. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the, we don't have a lot of key like, they're mostly doused and diluted with Angus blood. Is that right? Yeah, they're Angus or Maine or something black. Because I think the highest percentage or the lowest they have is like 3% or something like that. I can't remember. They don't take a very high percentage. 10%. Yeah, 10% if you're lucky. So most of the keys you see are not 100% key. They're all heavily influenced with other things. They're all a lie. But, okay, so in the next episode of BCMH Cattle is the dairy cattle discussion. So, I spent 6 years at the Oklahoma State Dairy working for them and going all over the country, judging dairy cattle, showing dairy cattle, looking at other dairies. Yeah, so we'll talk about that, but that's going to be in the next episode, guys. So I got my hat backwards. I don't know if you all can see me or not. Ah, there we go. Hi, Becky's acting up again. Whew, maybe not. Hold on. I'm back in the building again. Oh my gosh. I don't know what her deal is. Anyway, I'm just going to try to get out of my thing here. I just got to figure out how to do that. So, okay. I hope you guys learned a lot, because I know it was kind of, it was more like a less formal discussion. Oh, thanks, Jacqueline. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed that, because I felt like I rambled a lot. But I have a lot of history with it, so it's one of those things that's very close and near and dear to my heart. So I like talking to other people about it. Yeah, thank you. So thanks to Ashley and everybody who commented, you guys. Absolutely just phenomenal, as always. You guys are amazing. But oh, I hope I taught a little bit. There's a lot. Most of it for me was a little bit of research, but a lot of experience too, from what I've learned, because I've got an animal science bachelor's from OSU. So a lot of that was like from classwork and stuff too, because we did have to go and like do the basic breeds and so I hope it was a lot helpful and understanding. Yeah, Ashley speaks it in very, very loudly. Cattle are our hearts for sure. If you guys have me on Facebook, look through my photos, you'll see half of them are cattle. And mostly like dogs and cattle and stuff too. Oh, Ash, you're getting love in the comments. Yay. Yeah, you guys, Ash is awesome. She's great. She, one of my cattle buddies, my closest cattle buddies. But anyway, I hope you guys learned a lot. I really thank you guys for like sticking with me, because that was definitely that was a long discussion. So I hope you guys enjoyed. It took me a lot of hours to get that ready, so I really thank you guys a lot for talking to me. I hope that I talked a lot about the models and like what they looked like at the time, and why those cattle were at the time that way. Did I do that? I hope I did that. I hope it made you guys understand a little bit of kind of why they had those cattle that way. There's a little bit more. Bye, Jacqueline. Thank you. I did tell you guys that Jacqueline did donate some stuff for the show. Yeah, thanks. I need to go get sleep. Cody already ate without me. Yeah, Jacqueline and Madison both donated some stuff to the show. We're going to have probably our first, if you guys haven't, signed up for that show, go do it, because I'm so ready to see what we've got. Thank you. Okay, I'm glad that it was a good one, because I just kind of was like, okay, this is what I've seen now versus meh. So actually, believe it or not, if you guys follow me on Facebook, I'm going to be starting to share a lot of photos of our cattle and stuff, because shows are starting to pick up here in the fall. So I'm just going to share a bunch of cattle photos, so just keep up to date with me. I don't share a whole lot of my model stuff on Facebook, on my personal page a lot, just because it's a different aspect of my life. There's the cattle community, and then there's that community, my model horse people. The cattle people would never understand. So I just keep them separate. But yeah, if you do follow my Facebook though, my personal, I'll have a lot of photos posted of the show cattle and stuff, of what we're getting ready to work on. And maybe I'll be with Ash and be able to see her heifer in person. So, okay, guys, I love y'all. Seriously, lots of love. Thank you guys for all of the support, and I will see you in the next episode. Like I said, we'll talk about dairy cattle. So, bye. Thank you guys. Bye.
Are your daydreams filled with salty air, gorgeous sun?